Welcome to the Voice of Houston, everyone. We are so happy that you decided to be with us today. We have something very special for you and someone also very special, Mr. Johnny Moloch, one of the great men here in Houston, a friend of my co-host and my mentor, Dr. Bobby Mills, and of course myself, Dr. Clara Brent. We are so happy to have you, Johnny. We met about 5 years ago, hasn't it been? Something like that.
Yes, ma'am.
And you had started, and of course, Dr. Mills was in on it as well to help our young children read better and learn better. And could you, right now, tell us how has everything developed? What your I don't want to call it a business, but a program. What type of program is about? How it helps our children, and what's the name of it first of all?
Well, it's called the Read by Five Initiative, and our organization is called Bridging the Digital Divide, and Dr. Mills is the president.
Hey,
and I am the IT technical director. And our mission is to ensure that kids can read and write by 5.
Beautiful.
And we call it the 90% rule. If a child can read by first grade, they have a 90% chance of performing at grade level throughout their school age years. A child that cannot read by first grade has a 90% chance of never performing at grade level throughout their school age years. And majority of black and brown kids fit into that second category of never performing at grade level. And so there's statistics that we have out there, 90% of Houston 8th graders cannot read at grade level, and that's all tied into them not learning how to read by 5.
Usually, it's about when they don't read about 5. It usually causes a problem. They get behind by 3 grade levels. As they get older and the grades get harder, and because of the lack of being able to read or know their sounds and all those that goes along with reading. Can you explain to the viewers, our audience, what does the child have to go through? What does that program help them with?
Johnny, before you answer Dr. Brent's question, and it's an appropriate question, why don't you fill the audience in a little bit in terms of how we initiated Bridging the Divide and why we initiated it and what experiences we had that led toward that coming out of Texas Southern University, because you were the IT director and the person who handled the academic computing areas for students. Give a little background information on that.
Okay, well, Dr. Mills and I and a partner, Will Guitry, Will had installed the first mainframe computer at Texas Southern University, and Dr. Mills was over there with board relations, managing all the board members, and I was there as the IT director of academic computing. And so I was over all the academic computing for all the campuses, the colleges, and for their technology, making sure. So they had to go through my department to get their computers from pharmacy to School of Business and all those. And so anyway, when we basically ran off from the university, I'll be diplomatic. And so when we left the universities, we started a nonprofit to digitally include kids. And we wanted to make sure kids had access to technology. And so we started Bridging the Divide, and we also started a for-profit company also. And basically, we were going around putting computers in schools, child care centers, and apartment communities. And so we would collect a bunch of pictures. Every time we put the labs in, we would take pictures of those labs. And so one day I was invited over to the Houston Read Commission by Mr. Herschel Rich, who he's passed on since now, but he was an old Jewish guy, and he started the Houston Read Commission. And so they wanted somebody to, Chase Bank was going to donate hundreds of computers, and they wanted those computers installed in apartment communities for ESL.
All right.
And so we were sitting there, like we're sitting here with the board, Herschel Rich was sitting right next to me, and he was looking through all those pictures of all the great labs that we had installed. And he was saying, Johnny, this exact word, Johnny, this is fantastic. He says, but you know, Johnny, it doesn't do any good to teach kids computers if they can't read or write.
Isn't that the truth?
And our whole mission changed that day. And he gave us a program called CompuTutor, and that CompuTutor program was developed by Mr. Mullen. I got to give him credit because they've all passed on. He was president of the Houston Inventors Club. And so he had developed the CompuTutor, and he said, they said, we're going to let you add this program that teaches kids how to read and write. They were using it for ESL, but it was really made for kids to learn how to read and write with. And basically, we added that to our all the other hundreds of programs we already had on the computer.
Really?
And so
Did you have any involvement with that programming of the computers, or you just built them and put the programs in?
The programs what we did was we call public domain programs that were basically they don't use anymore. They go on public domain or freeware, shareware, abandonware. And so what we did was we collected all this old programming, and I did that when at St. James School where my kids were attending.
Really?
And St. James knew when I was working at TSU, and they said, hey, they knew I was an IT person, and they said, can you put programs for the kids? And I started it there at St. James, where Beyonce went to school, in fact.
Really?
I always got to brag. I got a couple of Beyonce books
Good
with
girl,
her name
too.
in it. Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, we started it there with about 30 programs, and the YMCA saw it because they were friends of some of the teachers. And then they asked me to do the other YMCA's, and so then we just kept adding. So we've been adding programs ever since. And so recently we just added now we're endorsed by the NAACP's Education Committee.
Wonderful.
Secretary of Education, Dr. Rod Page, former Secretary of Education.
Dr.
So he's endorsed.
Page, we honored him
Yeah.
in UHN right here.
Yeah. We all came to the event.
Yeah, we were at the event. Yes, exactly.
When we gave him the flag for at the Buffalo Soldier Museum at our American Legion post.
He's doing good.
Well,
Yeah, Page
That's
is doing
wonderful.
fine. But the other issue is that when we were professionals at Texas Southern University, we saw a lot of incoming freshmen who had graduated out of HISD, and their main problem was they couldn't read and they couldn't compute. And that is why they were limited in their ability to do college level work. And so that inspired us as well.
So did y'all start, let me just ask this question, did you start at TSU with the freshmen at that time, or as an experimental thing, or did you go to the school where your children were going as experimental to see how well the programs would work?
Well, no. What happened was that I started putting them in the YMCA child care centers, and then and they started. They loved it, because they had no computers and no programming on there at the time. It was in the early 2000s.
Did the children love it?
Of course, yeah. Oh, they loved it, yeah.
Oh, really?
That's why we started the Computer Olympics that we've been doing for the last 15, 16 years.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Where is that held?
At University of Houston.
University of
We started
Houston
off
every year?
Every year. We've had it the last couple of years because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But we had 400 kids come out and compete for gold, silver, and bronze medals.
Yeah.
So if Google Computer Olympics, you'll see us come up, or you just go to our website.
Wonderful.
So in fact, they got it on the screen right now. So
what is what's the website? Can you tell us the website?
bddhouston.org.
BB.
BDD, Boy David David.
BDD.
Bridging the Digital Divide.
All right.
Houston.org.
I like that word,
BD.
digital divide. I bet Dr. Mills came up with that.
No, we all.
Digital
It was a
divide.
collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Go ahead on, Sugar, and tell us more about what your plans are, what you're doing right now. You and Dr. Mills. Just take over this thing.
Okay. Well, we currently, because of the pandemic, we've received more attention than we normally do, because what we do digitally include people. So all these major companies, everybody understands that this is an important time now. And so we've had AT&T and UPS and the city of Houston give us a lot of funding in the last couple of years.
That's beautiful.
And so we recently, not recently, back in May 25th, the day George Floyd was murdered, like we
Yes,
say.
murdered was the word.
His anniversary May 25th. Well, we went to the Cutie Homes where he grew up at, and we placed a computer center in there. So we were all over the news that day. We were probably the main story all that day, at least in the Houston area.
Wonderful.
And so we put a computer center in there, but we also put the first Wi-Fi park in the city of Houston. And so the first Wi-Fi park is a park where we put an AP device that broadcasts the internet signal outside. So the residents, when the computer center is not open 24/7, the residents, instead of going to McDonald's or going to the library somewhere, most of them don't have cars.
Yes.
So they can just come out there and sit on the park bench that they put out there, and they can just use their tablet or their phone
That's
or something
wonderful.
and have access. So since then, we've done another 20 Wi-Fi parks and apartment complexes.
I'm thinking about my community now, in the northeast Houston area. What have y'all done? I know I'm not going to stick to that. Do something for us. Well, our children need something out there as well, and it would be wonderful. This is a large community.
We just did Northeast, not to interrupt you, but
When did you
yesterday,
do it?
Yesterday, day before yesterday. Tell them, Dr. Miller.
Yeah, tell me about it, please.
Well, Discovery U is located right at the corner of Tidwell and Mesa.
Yeah, I know
And
where
a
that
young
is.
lady by the name of Janice Thomas has a community outreach program with young people, adults, etc.
At the corner of Tidwell and Mesa.
Mesa,
Janice Thomas.
right.
Okay.
Janice,
What's the
Janice.
church there? Because Lady Bird is what?
Right.
Miss
Well,
Bird?
the name of the organization
Taylor.
is Discovery U.
Lady Taylor.
Lady Taylor.
Yeah,
So
lady
she's the first lady of that church.
church, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know where I know where the church is.
Yeah, right.
Right there at the corner, almost on the
right.
corner.
Mhm.
He's
It
Almost
is
on the corner. Well, no, it's
Yeah.
almost on the corner. She's right.
Yes,
It's almost on
and the
corner.
pastor used to be on the school
There's a gas
board
station,
right
gas
there
station
in
right there.
North Forest.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good place. So now
yeah.
we know.
Well,
Yep.
Yeah.
we can do something at your church.
And that sounds like a one or two.
Yeah. Now, but we also did years ago. We did Sterlingshire Apartment Complex, which is right across the street from there.
Right.
You know Sterlingshire? It's right there.
Yeah, I know what
Uh-huh.
Sterlingshire is.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
We did that. We did a grand opening there, 2009 on Halloween Day.
Yeah, back some years ago.
Yeah, years
And
ago.
it's still there?
Well, we put another computer center there 3 years ago, so they're still using the computers. Yes, it's still
And no announcement. We're gonna have to start announcing what you have done,
Thank you,
where it's
thank you,
supposed,
thank
where
you.
they can go,
Mhm.
and because if you don't have any information, you won't be using anything. That's a good thing. So we know one is on the corner of Tidwell and Mesa, and that's at the church. Everybody about know where the church is, and about know Pastor Taylor too. So the other one is, say that again, please, sir.
Well, it's,
Uh-huh.
well, we've done a number of areas in
Can you name
in the
those
north
areas? 'Cause,
side.
see, the reason
we just
why-
did one with Bishop Johnson. We did a show with him recently at his church right on the corner of Little York and Foy, right there by Scarborough Middle School.
That's good. That's good. Reason why I'm asking this is because our viewers might be writing this down, and they really want to see their children succeed, and especially the little ones. They want to start. If you start early enough, I believe it used to be a saying that if you catch a child before they get 5, you can instill in that child all of their life what they could be or what they would be, and they wouldn't go astray. Isn't that something? So I commend you all for what you've done and what you're going to do in the future. Now tell me to continue to talk on about what you plan to do about our little ones in these communities that they're getting behind, further and further behind.
Especially, they're
And
already
the black
behind.
ones are just getting further and further behind. I know. So how? What about the schools? Why don't the districts accept those things?
Well, what happened was that in 2019 they passed the bill called HB 3, House Bill 3, and House Bill 3 required the state the governor, they signed it, and basically it's a law passed that says, hey, all school districts have to provide preschool education to low-income children. So no income child should be left behind. So basically,
starting at age 3.
3 and 4. So all 4-year-olds have to be in school, and 3-year-olds half a day if they have room. And so what we've been doing, because we've been working with child care centers. We've been pushing that they partner. The feeder system to schools is the child care system. 90% of kids attend child care prior to going to first grade. And so in the low income areas, those kids who are feeding, most of them are academically behind. They don't know the phonetic sounds, their colors, their shape, their sight words. They don't know all the stuff they're supposed to know that we call it 10 kindergarten readiness skills. And so they never catch up. So not only don't they know how to read, but they don't know the
So you're talking about the people that own these nurseries.
Yeah,
I call them nurseries.
Yeah,
The people that own these nurseries,
Daycare.
the mother go to work, and she drops them off about 6 o'clock in the morning, and she heads to work. Or the daddy and the mother heads to work, and they drop the baby off. You're saying that if they start at 2 to 3 years old, 2 years old, and they would be the feeders into the school.
They are the feeder systems.
They are the feeder system in the school. So that child will learn better, faster by the time they get to preschool. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, our mission is to go in, and we have a curriculum that's, like I said, is endorsed by the Secretary of Education, Dr. Rod Page. He called it revolutionary.
Okay.
It's a computerized curriculum. It's endorsed by the NAACP's Education Committee. Dr. Boz, before she became city council member, she was the president. She had us come in, and we presented there, and they endorsed it here in Houston. And so basically, it's a very easy. Instead of using, a lot of people like to use Abeka and nothing wrong with that, and Frog Street and those other curriculums. But
I've been seeing an advertisement of the mouse or somebody mouse. So, they send it to the house, and the baby gets interested in it and start learning. Yours is similar to that, much better. It seems.
There's no comparison. I'm very arrogant about this when I talk about this. We developed it, and basically, we follow, because since the state we got the foundation. The state requires that you use a foundation enrichment curriculum.
Yeah.
So if you are a public school in the state of Texas, you're required, or a charter school that's under the state of Texas, TEA, then you're required to teach the foundation and enrichment curriculum. The foundation curriculum is English, math, social study, and science. Enrichment is going to be English as a language other than English, physical education, health education. So those basically 9 to 10 subjects that are required. If if I'm in HISD, I'm required to learn those subjects, and HISD is required to teach those subjects
in order to graduate.
That's right.
Yes.
And if you go to Dallas, those school districts, they're going to be teaching the exact same subjects, because that's what is required through the whole state.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we made sure that same curriculum is on our computers.
I got
So when we put that curriculum in a child care center, they have all those subjects, and so it makes it easy for somebody just to click on math, and all of a sudden you're going to have everything under there from counting to 100 in math, for pre-K stuff.
I know I'm thinking like a mother would think. Does that baby have to repeat? Do you repeat 1, 2, 3, like the computer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do they repeat after? Does the computer talk to them and they talk back?
Yes. When if we bring up the pictures of the child care centers, then you will see that he's going through the 10 kindergarten readiness. That's the 10 kindergarten readiness skills on the computer right there. So that's a form that we give out with when we give the computers away. So, but basically, we have that's the picture of the computer that's it. So basically, the child care centers there, you can see that we have what we call group learning.
Right.
And so they do what we call circle time for an hour. So during that hour, they're doing their phonetic sounds, their colors, their shapes, their pledge allegiance.
From the computer?
Yeah, from the
computer has a big screen.
It's a big screen.
But the teacher has a big screen.
Yes,
okay. And they're going through all this, so they're doing the computer saying all this, everything.
So the other alphabets.
So just like kids learn, just like you were saying, kids learn how to They can
repeat
sing
them.
songs. So we have them teaching. They're doing the phonetic sounds. They're counting to 100. And most of them do it twice a day. So in the morning for an hour, they'll go through all the 10 kindergarten. They'll go through all the 10 kindergarten reading skills for that hour.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, they'll repeat it again. And so now they're mastering their sight words. They're mastering the phonetic sounds, mastering shapes, colors, money. So they're doing all that and they're repeating it daily. So
they ought to be starting. The good part about it is reading. That's what
that's where it gets to.
Once you get to reading, you can do most anything. That's what I'm.
With the phonetic sounds,
about.
when we go through the phonetic sounds, like I say, like I know all the sounds, like ooh,
Yeah.
If you go to most child care centers or even teachers, they only know 2 sounds.
Yeah, they won't go over it. If they knew them, they won't go over because the curriculum is altogether different. So yours is even better simply because. Go ahead, Bob.
Part of the problem is that in too many of our daycare centers, they're babysitting centers. They're not developmental centers because the people who own and employ others to work in them, they're not qualified and have not been trained to teach young people how to read developmentally. So it's just a babysitting service. So you drop your kid off, he's 3 years of age, he's there all day playing games or doing things that entertain that child, but not develop his mind and his capabilities. So when he gets to kindergarten, 5 years of age, and goes to public school, he's already behind. So when we went and met with the governor of the state, when they brought into play, House Bill 3,
Right.
which is to say that every child deserves
To learn.
an early preschool education in order for them to be successful educationally and for the state to be successful in terms of creating opportunities and employment opportunities as well as social and other kinds of experimental opportunities for children. That's what the problem is.
So to solve this problem is what you're doing. However, it's got to get to more people than what it has been done.
Yes.
And that's why you're here with us today,
Right.
True,
Johnny,
correct.
with Bobby and I, so that we can get the people to know that something out there for you, for the black child, for the
Black and
Children
brown,
black
in general.
children as a whole, not only our own, but those that are
immigrants. Yeah,
immigrants. Anybody that wants to have this can have it. Now the part of the matter is that how do we get the parents
Involved.
involved enough to see that the daycare that they're sending their child to and paying all this money every week, and they have something that God has blessed you all with,
Thank you.
good minds, good thoughts, and good insight, to bring this to the public at no cost. I commend you.
Well, there is a cost.
What's the cost?
Yeah, well, no, we're a nonprofit,
What's the cost?
so we donate computers and everything all the time. But
Yeah,
but usually when we donate, it's because somebody like AT&T or UPS
Oh yeah,
or
well,
somebody
the
sponsor.
big guys like
Yes.
AT&T, good,
Oh yeah, they're the ones. Yeah,
good for you.
yeah.
And who's the other one?
Because when we go to buy the computers, they're not free.
Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
And so it's a cost there, but it's not a cost to the parent. That's what I'm speaking of.
yeah.
It's not a cost to the parent, and it won't be a cost to the daycare center, what I call it.
Well, let me say this.
No, what?
The way I made most of my money for years prior to the pandemic was child care centers would purchase the computers. Because they're getting a computer with a curriculum and all this stuff on it. So they would pay couple $100 for the computers, which was extremely cheap for the curriculum on it,
Right.
and they love it. And so that's when we come to our Computer Olympics.
Yeah.
But now what we're doing now is we're giving those computers away for free. let me say this.
Okay.
For daycare owners who are listening.
All right.
So our new initiative, because right now we've been concentrating on apartment complexes, STEM computer centers that we've been putting in with AT&T and UPS and others, and we've been putting the outside Wi-Fi parks there. And so our goal is going to those apartment complexes and put a computer center in every apartment complex.
Wow, that's beautiful.
We're already in 20 plus.
Yes, sir.
And so but then our other goal is to go into every child care center that's feeding kids into these school districts and make sure they have a curriculum that is easy to use and that they can teach their kids 10 kindergarten readiness skills. And that's what Dr. Page was when he said transformational. Then that's what he was talking about. If we can get every child entering in school, every black and brown child entering school to know the phonetic sounds, the colors, the shapes, the sight words, the 10 kindergarten readiness skills, then that will be transformational. That's when they won't be able to judge, make prisons from third. The correlation.
That's what we're trying to do. Keep them out of what? Prison. Yes, sir. Trying to keep them out of prison, trying to keep them out of trouble, and that that good mind that God has put into them will be used for the good of the world and not for the bad and their selfishness and greed. That's a good thing. I'm so proud of you all. I'm telling you. I know those that are watching, I know you're proud as well, and we know that if we can keep our young men, grow them up, teach them what I learned, what Bobby learned, what you learned from your parents, and then we understand now about parents being single parents. Mother gone off, dad is raising the children. Father gone off, mother is raising the children. And and those that are together are raising the children, but nobody is able to stay at home because of the price of living. So both have to work. And it used to be that the mother taught the children your ABCs. If you didn't have a book, we had the Bible. You learned about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And you learned about David, and then you were able to read the 23rd Psalms. That was the first one I learned. The 23rd Psalms, and learn how to pronounce it. I mean, what you call it? Not pronounce it, but to memorize it and continue to do that. And with several things that our mother did. But now it's a different thing, and I'm just so elated over the fact that that idea that you had is developing into something that's so good, so good. And those that are listening to us understand that this is the best thing that could happen in the city of Houston right now. Best thing, because we have so many other things that the classroom teacher has to do and go through till he can hardly get to the whole curriculum of what the child is supposed to be doing and how they are doing it, because they have gotten behind because of the first part of their life, the learning part. Yeah,
the correlation between the third grade reader.
Yes, the learning part, it's development.
Yeah, the correlation between the third grade reader is that they were a first grade reader. So,
it's 3 years behind.
Yeah,
yes.
so they always talk about third grade when they start. That's when the state starts measuring
whether that child gonna go to jail or not.
Yeah, so
they'll get in trouble.
So
be on dope, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
yes.
so basically, if a child is reading by first grade, then they got a 90% chance of being reading at third grade, and they got also a 90% chance of performing at grade level throughout their school age years. So you can't wait and start judging them at third grade. You got to start judging them at first grade, and that's going to make all the difference in the world.
And it has to start early.
Yeah,
it has to start early.
And one debate I get into all the time with individuals is that they always say the parent. Well, unfortunately, in our community, where less than 30% of the black community is headed by black men and women together, less than 30%.
Wow.
So then, you got 70% or 80%. Of apartment complexes, not where single mothers or something like that. But the rule, the 90% rule, doesn't say make that correlation. It says if the child is reading by 5, regardless of what environment they come out of, they will have a 90% chance of being successful. So
they will succeed.
They will succeed. So regardless of what environment they're in, I know people try to blame it.
Y'all hear that, mothers? They will succeed.
They will succeed.
They will succeed.
And I hate to make that argument with people who will try to blame it on the parents. We can't. we can't rebuild the family until we build our children first. The
Yeah.
foundation has to be there. I'm
Yeah.
ex-military, and the mission readiness report came out in 2014 that said ready, willing, but unable. So that report came out that said that 75% of young adults cannot pass the military exam.
Wow.
And so they said that's a national emergency. That's the military saying that. And you know what they had on the front page with that?
What?
Early education is the solution. He got the slide up there right now. And so
Early education.
So the military knows that
That you
early
got-
that you got to
get
teach them
educated.
early.
Yeah.
If these kids are going to be doing, if you go to Ellington Field out here, Ellington Field is where they fly the drones out of Ellington Field all over the world. And if they're going to fly drones, the Air Force is going to fly drones. You got to have educated people to do it.
Yeah.
And they need educated kids, and so
even the weaponry that they use to kill people. So sophisticated.
And that's
you have
the
to
truth.
be
That's them
educated.
drones.
Yeah, that's the
They
truth.
have to be educated to use the weapon.
Yeah, so the military knows that. So I'm just saying that the military knows it, and we know our government don't know it because they passed House Bill 3 when we were sitting up there as with.
Well, the governor told you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he told. We were shocked. I was shocked when he was throwing the statistics. The statistics that we got when we were.
Right.
I thought they didn't know these statistics. I said, well, they ain't trying to help. Before 2019.
Yeah,
so
they
they must
weren't.
not know these statistics.
Yeah, but they knew.
They knew because we're sitting up there saying these guys
Yeah,
know
they
these
knew.
statistics
They
better
knew.
than we do.
Yeah.
I said, they said that's how they justified passing House Bill 3. And so they said, hey, we're gonna pass House Bill 3 because look at this. And Mills said it earlier.
Yeah.
They start saying about we don't have enough workers to we got to bring all these
They
tech
don't have
companies
the
in.
workers
Yeah,
with
the
technical
technology
skills and
is
the
changing
knowledge.
every day. And so these our babies that's coming in got to know how to do what they do best is to learn.
Well, they can't fill the job.
Yeah, they can't fill the
They
jobs.
can't
No,
meet
that's
the
true.
qualifications
Well,
for the
that's-
jobs. The jobs are there, but the jobs require certain knowledge, level of knowledge, and certain
Skill set.
skills, and they don't have it. And we're trying to
got that
fill,
too.
the void.
Well, I'm so proud that we have something and we don't have to be out of our pocket. Thanks to goodness to AT&T and who else?
Of UPS
And UPS.
the city of Houston council members,
City of
like
Houston
Shabazz
and our
Councilmember
mayor.
Pollard, and you got a mayor,
Yeah.
because he's the one who got us into the
Tatum.
CUNY
Yeah,
homes.
Tatum.
yeah.
Yes, we're thankful for you all, and we're going to say it again. Thank you,
The
thank
Harris
you,
County
thank you.
Department of Education.
Yes, I mean the issue is that we got to get it out there.
More. We need more.
Yeah, we got to get
Yeah,
them,
more.
the parents, to know, because they don't really know what you are really doing.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here with us today.
Yeah. And-
Because we want everybody to know about this, and you're going to come again. Because we want, at this station, UHN, we want to see development. We want to see love. We want to see the interests of our black people grow to where it was in the early 60s and 50s and that.
Prior to 1964 and 1965.
Yes, sir. Proud to all of those days,
Well,
all of those years, and we can gain that back just because of the two minds that came up with two ideas and has made it so.
Well, there are four things really that
I know.
we want people to be aware of in terms of what we as an organization are trying to do. And we're getting ready to have a very serious meeting with the superintendent of HISD
Beautiful.
because the HISDs or the ISDs of this state, they're required now
Right. Well,
to
I want.
involve themselves more
I
creatively.
hate to cut you off, Bobby, but it's time for us to go, and you're gonna come back. We're gonna bring him back. We're gonna bring Johnny back, and look here, you all. God loves you. We love you too. Keep Houston clean. Keep your paper in your car. God bless.